for joining us tonight for another session of Jazzonia. Jazzonia is a series that explores and celebrates jazz poetry as began by Langston Hughes. So it's kind of like an ode and homage to the legacy that he created for jazz poetry. I want to first, again, welcome you again to another session. I want to introduce the band who you just heard from. On keys, we have Chez Lewis. Behind me on bass. Sorry. We have Nat Emmanuel, apologies. And on drums, we have Alex Durant. And on electric guitar, we have Kenneth Gypsy Simpson. So I want to first introduce our first spoken word artist. Her name is Camryn Bruno, and she will be performing her own work atop the selections from jazz legend Hazel. Camryn Bruno is a spoken word poet, author, and curator. Her poems explore women's issues, social justice, and community building. And she was also the 2019 Youth Poet Laureate of NYC. Guys, help me welcome Camryn Bruno. Thank you.
Company of strangers. Stand clear of the closing doors, please. And we are stuck in this place, like can't breathe, stuck. Like this train smells like 8-hour work shifts and bodega chopped cheese, $2.25, also known as 11 courses, is how much it costs to be killed if you fall on the train tracks, or jump on a turnstile, or hold a gate open. We say so much without ever moving our lips. Knives to slice. That person who keeps looking at me for the last 2 stops. Isn't this the place where we feel safe behind closed doors? Don't our young boys hop these turnstiles just to go home? If you see something, say something. It's only loud enough if a video turns viral. Words turn bullets at the same size as a train car. And we dance to get home. And the bullet just hits another destination. And the yellow brick road is just the end of a train track, the Wizard of Oz of New York. Knock your feet twice and you're there. So many places where people call home. This train, call it bullets, call it safe haven, call it time capsule. Call it family. Ode to lemon juice. This is the recipe to rid impurities. Cut the rank out of fish and chicken and meat. Good enough to eat. Lemon under my armpit, let it marinate. To get rid of the color, get rid of the stench too. Lemon juice heals. This is detox. This is good scent now. Discoloration from stain on school uniforms. Lemon juice on teeth. Lemon juice is citric acid as washing clothes. I'll tell God just to add lemon into my mother's womb when we're making me queen. black woman always needs time when she never asks for it. And that's when she's freshly alive or dead. It's between wailing babies or obituary in hand, hymns from the chorus, wrapped in a blanket or wrapped in a casket. Everything in between is a blur. No one knows what happens to the black child after it's born. They just know what time they declared dead by a malpractice/doctor, or what time they end up dead in the streets. Black women always have to come in and fix everything. Like fix the ones who came before and the ones who came after them, but never them. I thought I needed to come into this world. Pretty sure this is my second trip. I came out a couple days early. Consider me an early bird. Firstborn for my mother, the most complicated child that's ever lived. People consider me to be a rainbow baby. Black women experience so many traumas through childbirth, and isn't that just enough? No. I've had more medicine when I'm inside of my mother's body than out. I hope that doesn't lead to an addiction. I consider myself to be strong because I kicked her ass into having half months of bed rest plus medicine. And isn't that just enough? No. Because my mother had to sacrifice, and isn't that just enough? No. Touché. My kids may also have to sacrifice. Dilemma. My mother thought that she wouldn't have to live past the age of 50. I'm glad to know that she defies the odds every year. I, on the other hand, couldn't fathom living past the age of 13 and 17 and 21, and the fear of dying defies that urge every time. What the hell am I supposed to do at 22? I never thought my body would have had to endure 2 sufferings in one lifetime. I'm convinced my time on this earth is temporary, but somehow I'm convinced to have to prepare for permanence. I would rather be bound to Mars. What is my destiny if I'm the middle child of my birth father's relationship? I am his second child, my mother's first, my stepfather's regret. I must say, if you have plans on marrying into a family, make sure the child isn't born of rebellion. I was called a monster before even called a name. I was just spending too much time on the computer and spending too much time and too less time doing yard work and taking care of the chickens and the birds and the pigs and myself. I was only 10 at the time. I don't want to hear that argument that she doesn't look her age because she was only 10 at the time. I am a Trinbagonian citizen, a United States citizen. People never knew what dual citizenship meant. I still had to take the SATs and never step foot into the US, middle school or high school. The dynamics are different from what you know. My mother moved me away from the American dream, so I didn't have to deal with the disappointment now. I went to school and had to take up to mandatory 15 subjects, skipped 2 grades in my life. I must say I'm not that smart now. I've always been an average C student. I never understood why school had to take so much time out of my life. The first time I wrote down a list of unachievable goals, and I achieved every single one. I'm afraid of success and failure at this point. I'm a black woman. The blur between heaven and hell shows up in so many different ways. I'm a black woman, and the only thing I'm a scholar at doing is showing up for myself in ways that other people couldn't. What is the purpose if I can never stay in someone's life for too long, and isn't that just enough? My ears are always open for criticism, for trash, for affirmations, and whatever else is needed from someone else, but when the tables are turned, no one has time to listen. I am somehow the asylum. I am somehow yet a typical black woman, and isn't that just enough? Maybe I'm a master manipulator. My love life has always included men who are way older than me. I'm convinced I was meant to be mature. And isn't that what they just say about black women? And isn't that just enough? No. I've had exes who have children. I'm gonna repeat that. I have exes who have children. When did they have the time? I'm always asked about how I'm able to prove myself to people who are able to love themselves more than I love myself. It's simple. I'm a black woman. I take care of everyone except myself, except the times that I feel like if I need to take care of myself. And isn't that just enough? I mean, look at the situation. couldn't live in tiny ponds. He watched me stifle. Knew water had oxygen in it. Knew other waters where blacks learn to breathe. To know water means struggle. To be twins, both bodies of water. Why my sweat and tears are salted. Never question why the sea is so salty. Didn't you know this black is cleansed? I don't get seasick when the sea cradles me to sleep. On the spines of men who books seem to mind or account for. Funny how the water always brings things back to us. You are the body that holds all of my troubles. Better than my mother could. My mother's mother's mother held you like if it was a rite of passage. And once my mother told me to never turn my back against the sea. In front of me is current and it's only the waves that can get me there. How can I turn my back against the thing that brought me here? So here I am. My mother's 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 reincarnation. I can't imagine living in a space that has less room than the dead. Seems to be a little bit selfish. I can't imagine the captain confusing the spirit of his men with the spirit in his cup. Both deadly, his cockpit a bridge, and plenty of water ran on the bridges. Because us black knew better, to know death better than bondage, to be free, to be twins, to know these bodies will always belong to nobody, an open casket for the fishes, a body as a bloody host for a shark's communion, encapsulates dense bones of my ancestors in Davy Jones' slaughter. I was the middle passage between this and a foreign land, between land and a foreign land. The waters between continents became a second home to me. I'm the immigrant, permanent like the riptide. We teach our children to use water as leisure, but teach them to wash away pain in the solvent that got us out of it. And it is said, just as the ocean gave birth to black people and delivered us into a new land, some seek salvation here. For the rest of us, finding escape was enough. If we could only stretch from the sand and hold the sunset and be confident in this warmth without drowning in the water, oh, how we would never hope to see the moon or the sunrise again. No man is an island, but that's what it feels like. We would never know where we can be unless we are not willing to sacrifice the risk to thread the unsafe water between two islands gives us no hope of what can be achieved. Rather we wait patiently and hope the ones we have lost can kiss our cheeks and we get jealous and despise the future of what could have been. The privilege we hold in our back pocket to be able to smell the roses again. When we tend to lose touch, but never the sensation to feel it hurt, to find a new way For this recipe, you would need 1 cup of brainwash, 1 tablespoon of degrading music, a pinch of self-esteem to keep them perky, and 1 man trapped in a world of male superiority. Allow the woman to marinate in a misogynistic society for decades. Be sure to brainwash your woman, erasing any traces of self-worth, because a woman that knows what she is worth is just as good as rotten. Don't allow her to think. Add your tablespoon of degrading music to make sure she always sees herself as object, never human, never woman, only an object to be objectified. Ensure that society sees her as nothing more than body parts. Make her think she's in control, but we all know better. Add 2 cups of coconut oil, because how else would she be? Hashtag Team Melanin. The most important ingredient, a man, because woman could never be perfect without him, without master, without head chef. Throw in a waist trainer, add 2 preserved thighs into the pot, stir, brings her thickness, because how else would you really make her a snack? Stir, rinse or boil, make her angry right till she outs your expectations. Stir, unless it's simple. Make her the Barbie in your dreams. Stir and add flame, because why is she being a typical mad black woman? Slide right off the pot. The cocoa butter makes that easier, so she doesn't stick, so she's hot enough while you eat, because nobody likes to eat cold meals. Disguise wrongs and tell her they are her rights. Force her to stand for them. Force her to stand. Force her to eat. Force this recipe down her throat. It doesn't matter if she doesn't like the flavor. This is society's recipe for the perfect woman. The heat is on every woman that refuses to swallow her womanhood and become a side instead of the main course she is. But we, us, women, are done following society's recipe. Never again will we bend over backwards to fit the standards in their measuring cup. We are creating our own recipe, where the only measurements are the ones we set. Society's recipe only poisons our women and girls into thinking they are inferior. But we are made with the finest ingredients, made in every kitchen you could think of. So every thick thigh, every thin lip, every strand of straight or curly hair, every body dip in ebony or vanilla is meant to be here. So if you think you know what women should be, this is what we are serving now.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much, Camryn. That was so good. That last one, yes. Again, guys, thank you for joining us. That was Camryn Bruno, accompanied by the City Love NYC Band, and those were the selections by Hazel Scott, an amazing, amazing jazz legend. I want to take a moment now to introduce our next spoken word artist. Her name is Shanelle Gabriel. Shanelle will be performing her pieces atop the music of jazz legend Mary Lou Williams. So we're excited to hear that. Shanelle is a poet, singer, and educator from Brooklyn. She is working on her 3rd album. She serves currently as so let's just say she's working on her 3rd album while she serves as the executive director at Urban Word NYC, which is a youth organization that uses poetry and hip hop to promote literacy and youth voice. So I'm excited to hear from her, and she was on the panel when Jazzonia kicked off back in April of this year. So let's just welcome Shanelle Gabriel. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hi. I know jazz shows are usually, we're like, it's jazz, we have to be silent. I don't know how to do that. I'm just feeling very black girl magic right now. And so we're gonna do a little bit of that. And yes, I think we're gonna start with Azure Tay. Then we're gonna go to lonely moments. Then we're gonna do clean picking. Then we're gonna go cloudy. We're gonna go through this. It's a beautiful, beautiful. And thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so much. You've been so amazing, Kendolyn. I saw it falling. So let's start off with that. So this piece is called Black Girl Literacy in 3 parts. And my dangling earrings would fall off for that moment. And this is me going through girlhood. We share sermons on this bench. On Eastern Parkway and Nostrand, claim the spot as teenagers to be our daily tabernacle, wearing our summer's best tanks and Timbs, kicks and crop tops. We are dressed for our devotional bread. We feed each other. Parables of high school escapades, lessons learned at lunch tables. We pray to God that someone is not pregnant, that he calls, and that we are not out of daytime minutes. We fast until her mother arises from the subway like Jesus on the 3rd day, paying tithe to the building fund, foundation for our temples, the lettuce, mayo, cheese, no tomato, salt, pepper, vinegar, and boar's head turkey, because God said he will withhold no good thing from his children. This bench is where we testify. This is our booty shorts fellowship, where we study ourselves to show ourselves proved to be alive and found holy and whole in our brown girl bodies. And we pray that we will commune together forever and ever. Amen. 2. I hear his privilege before I see his face. A grown man's request in the cursive of a demand. What's your name, shorty? The girl he speaks to has her weight thrown against the subway pillar. That weight may be about 100 pounds, though through the mask, I assume she was a preemie maybe 15 years ago. He is speaking, and she is not. Her friend with the same small frame is not. He assumes it is due to his mask. He lowers it, like she needs to see his mouth to know that her place is to listen. He is confused that she is not honored, bothered that she does not gift him with her name. Does she not know how to respect her elders? This grown-ass man leaning into this teenage girl who leans into the subway pillar, whose friend leans on her left leg, as I lean into the anger that scratches against my tongue, ready to crack the air. The moment these two that I have now branded my little sisters need me. She says her name is behind a door he is too old and too ugly to walk through. She locks away all the jewels he assumed belonged to him in his palms, and he belches, "You ain't that cute," as if convincing his pride to remain swollen, and I ensure he hears my wholehearted judge and jury of a laugh. As they switch places, he, the child stomping away, they, the girls learning that the slow tongue of childhood is not afforded to black and brown girls. 3. Yes, woman. Yes, sis. See, she is all about acrylic and anime, bringing blessings, banishing bad vibes, belly full of bad jokes and cheap wine, always gathering, always collaborating, crafting comedy over brunch and beats, contradicting conjurer of lies. They say black girls are dramatic, dragging each other, no. Lies that they are all fire, fist fighting, grabbing glasses of water to hurl, and all hurt inside, told to smile. Why? If a man's mere presence is inspiration. Told her mere intonation is an insult. Told, keep quiet, kneel and kill your spirit. She resists, fights to need the knowledge that will lend to the lengthening of her life. She is learning to love the less in her. and more and the more, finding magic in her melanin, meditating on mothers of movements net and not themselves. In her DNA she negates the negative narratives, oscillating outside and within. Her potent potential is unquantifiable, realizing reality is shaped by the world she decides to create. She is sensitive and strong. Her sacredness will no longer be sacrificed to save those who only seem to take. She can take off her crown and throw down. Thinks of her heart as a talisman, an uncut diamond used to be under a microscope. Unabashedly unique and unalterable, she is ultraviolet light. Visions vast and piercing, wide world wondering, a woman withholding nothing, learning to expect all things and X out anything that doesn't yield their happiness. Black girls reaching past the zenith of their dreams. Black girl, you are everything. Thank you for allowing me to share that with you all. So we're moving into lonely moments. Like I said, I'm gonna keep on this girl power. I was a Spice Girls fan. We're gonna keep on this girl power. Yes. Moment. This is for a working woman. When you hand them your resume and they want to talk about your makeup. When you get that corner office and they only want to talk about the length of your skirt. When they prefer to refer to your areas of weakness, ignoring the weight of work you carry each day. When you cross every T and dot every I, but the promotion seems to only go to a person missing an X to their Y. When they set you in high places, but try to lower your standards. When you bring your experience to the table and they still think they need to cut your meat for you. When they call you sweetie and dear, like your name got lost. When your 4C curls don't meet company guidelines and they seem to prefer your black relax. When the task they assign you feels like a puzzle with half the pieces missing. When you break day along with parts of your spirit to finish the job that they only seem to know how to pick apart. When they say you must have cheated. When they cut budgets in corners but not the load. When they don't believe you or in you. When they call you emotional for having emotion. When they call you dramatic for asking for respect. When they throw compliments your way and you don't want to catch them. When they assume your pretty face means empty head, means welcome mat, means open legs. When you come to them human and they prefer you be object. When you come to them rock and they prefer you be pillow. When you come to them whole and they offer you 76 cents to their dollar. When they almost convince you that everything you do, that your passion and labor is meaningless. It is then that you lift your shoulders with your chin parallel to the same ground your mother, grandmother, queens, ancestors battled on. When you climb and your fists grow bloody from pounding on the glass, feel the dents that others have chipped. When you realize that with all the world has told you, you still quake the earth, planted seeds in dry soil, watered yourself and bloomed. It is then that you push back against the people betting on your complacency. Recognize that women have always been the fuel for every movement, have been the backbone that stood alone and often unknown. It is then you realize that you don't have to hold the lies they told. Please let the need for their approval go, because nothing you do for them will make you whole. So just shine like you are there for a purpose bigger than yourself. Just shine. Because we women have a tendency to exhale excellence and best believe that everything you touch will parallel your brilliance, my dear. Don't let their labels and limitations destroy the legacy you will leave. That power, that resilience, it's in you. It's in your genealogy. Please give it up for the band. I might just start dancing up here. All right, so I gave you a couple new things. I have a couple other newer poems that I'm going to share with you all, but I'm going to go to something that's a favorite of mine, and I'll explain why after. So we're going to clean picking. And I will say this, you have to share this playlist with everyone because this playlist was amazing. Okay. So now I'm gonna tell y'all about my business. Don't judge me. If you know that you are fly, you are awesome, give yourself a snap. You're all vain. You're all vain. But that's a beautiful thing because I learned. If it wasn't for vanity, see, in college, I don't know where I'd be. I was achy and sleepless with migraines all week. Still, I continue to keep on going. Class from 8 to 2:30. BSU meeting at 3. Dance practice at 4. At 5, I have to hold my student senate presidency. Sorority meets at 9. Study from 10 to 3. 7 a.m. My day just rewinds. And that was just Monday. Parties, sneaking a few conversations with whatever new guy I was talking to. See, this is the marsala that makes up the stew of the average college student. And I was no different. In every organization, see, I was black and somehow in charge of a Latin American student union. I mean, they asked. Stress was like my best friend, and I thrived in confusion, ignoring the weight that increased on my shoulders by the tons. Mornings got harder. I attributed it to me aiming to go farther than the average sophomore. Joints were swollen and sore, must be from dance practice. They say that excuses are the tools of the incompetent, and I was foolish to think I could be so negligent with my body and think that all these symptoms were somehow irrelevant. It got so bad one day that I walked with a limp, and yeah, something was wrong. And I saw butterflies, not like the Mariah Carey or the Michael Jackson song, but I saw a mark on my face. Didn't matter, the semester was over, I was home and back at my mom's place. Like I said, if it wasn't for vanity, I don't know where I'd be. I still had my symptoms, but I was simply glad to be home. Getting ready to go out now, you know, I had my cute outfit on. Looking all nice and grown, yes. Went to comb my hair and then I realized that a patch was not there. Vanity had me at the doctor. The next day said, "Doctor, I have some other complaints, but they can wait. Take care of this. Take care of the exterior like most people nowadays." And the doctor, he had this baffled look on his face. Did some blood tests, put a hat on, and I went on my merry way. And a few weeks later, the doctor said, "Shanelle, have you ever heard of lupus?" I said no, and he proceeded to say that my immune system was too strong in attacking my own body. And much to my dismay, see, I had to figure out how I could fit this into my schedule. Can you believe I still went to work that day? All for vanity. I refused to see that overworking myself so as not to appear ill to others could have eventually ended my many responsibilities early. Well, a few months later, my body, it made me rest, because lupus, it's a disease that flares up in times of stress, and I was constantly pushing it as if fighting my humanness. Well, this machine, it broke down. Hospitalization and the possibility of death forced me to do less. But it put things in perspective. Because see, life is about more than just meetings and deadlines. I'm not a millionaire, I only have one lifeline, and if it flatlines, I don't want to have any regrets. So I vow to live every day as if I have 24 hours left. I'm an alchemist, an artist, purifying myself every chance that I get. I've learned to accept experience as the past and the present as a gift. So for all the people that didn't see the sunrise this morning, you better enjoy it. Value your health and love of life. No matter how many miles you go, don't confuse neutral with drive. And know that sometimes you got to bare your teeth in order to finally be able to smile. So my vanity will sustain me. God helped me to believe in me. Can't you see? Lupus can't hold me. I'm gonna keep climbing walls like an ivy. Trying to stop me is in vain like an IV. Tenacity, it flows through my bloodstream. And I'm reaching my goals, no matter how hard it seems. Put God first, then myself, and then my family. Cause can't nobody love me if I don't love me. And being gassed, it's not cool, but nothing's wrong with a little bit of vanity. Cause me loving myself, well, that's the beginning of my testimony. Diagnosed with lupus in fall 2004, and I always like to do that poem and just like let everybody know that was a true story. I was telling y'all my business, and but also telling you all not to make you hypochondriacs. You're like, oh my God, I'm tired. Maybe you just need a nap. It might not be you, right? But if your body is telling you something, please make sure we take care of it. It's the only one we have, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing that we have limbs and movement. Value each day. All right, so we're going to go into Cloudy, and I'm going to share two poems within that. They're both newer poems. One is definitely, actually, this sounds crazy. I actually text my therapist, like, I got this poem about you. I'm about to do it if you want to. I really did. It was like, I told him it exists. He's like, you wrote a poem about me? I said, yeah. So I'm gonna squeeze that in there. Actually, I'll start with something a little different. My spirit told me to do something else. This is a little more serious. Do not speak to me about what the dead could have done to not be dead. Do not speak of drugs, quick feet and fleeing, fear and fleeing. Do not share suspensions and suspected toxicology. Do not call boy man. Do not call man demon. Do not speak of superhuman strength, black magic where guns magically manifest and disappear in body cams. Do not reference anything but the blood that flows through all of our veins, pouring into concrete soil. Do not tell me that badges are not the blame, that mistakes are not manslaughter, that a hit and run and the pull trigger of a gun aren't worthy of the same consequence. Do not tell me that being an officer is hard, when you've not hugged the rigor mortis on your husband, when a child does not want to be tucked in because they saw their father under a white sheet. Do not tell me what could have been, what should have been, when it's always been. Do not tell me about bad apples, when the tree was planted to do exactly what it does. When the tree only grows from my people's misery, and promotions come from arrest data and not servitude. Do not speak to me about forgiveness, when your apology comes to me empty of justice. You do not get to say anything about healing, unity, hope, thinking you can hashtag prayer hands, sad emoji the racism away. Do not set your mouth to say you can't believe this is happening, when our society has always made lynchings go by another name. Be silent if you cannot improve upon it, for there is a special place in hell for those who express anything else right now but My therapist told me I lean on my masculine energy, as if my femininity can only hold the weight of someone's body but not their heart. My bosom be a barred window I let only a few peer into. I tell my therapist only the privileged exist without curtains. Blame my Brillo tongue on Brooklyn, on black woman. My aggression remains my hubris and my most prized possession. See, I have a chip on my shoulder from dodging guillotines. Sorry if you ain't seen little girls like me with scraped knees, climbing wire fences where there should be trees. Brooklyn girls who swim in a sea of catcalls and adult accountability. Brooklyn girls build homes but never get rid of the debris. We speak with the cadence of an MC, mouths dance with razor blades. We teach our babies that the toughest shell make the best seeds. Taught to be an oak, not to be someone's palm tree. I'd love to be a flower, but I'll be damned if I let men float in and out like bumblebees. What's the use in being an open door if you've grown used to seeing people leave? I'm sorry if I don't soften easily. Brooklyn girls constantly have to be an army of one. That's why we stay fatigued. Know that our safety isn't guaranteed. Grew up watching teens like me work in the corner in Crown Heights and Canarsie. I heard how black girl magic can't save us from these streets. Mama told me as a child to use no man's lap as a seat. Heard how uncles and play cousins can be predatory. Everyone thinks they own a piece of a black girl's body, like the seal on my birth certificate made the world a signatory. They asked us to smile, as if the world ain't been trying to take it away. The thought of vulnerability makes my heart beat like double Dutch feet. Taught to trust nobody, can't even trust what I feel. And I want to be the mango on a man's lips, the pillow caressing his cheek, desiring someone bearing armor, but I only know how to be a shield, too guarded to be guarded. Easier to control the chessboard, taught to be queen, less gambit. No cards up my sleeve, marvel that the majority of my path to maturity was learning how to think maternally, protecting my students and my tribe. And you wonder why I'm more Dora Milaje and less Snow White. You wonder why my heart gets caught in my throat and I don't know how to put aside my pride. I'm a social butterfly who gets a crush and somehow turns shy, who feels a billion things at once but has to fight at times to figure out why. I know we all balance the dichotomy of dual energies, but the trauma frequently dons the mask of massive masculinity, not realizing that tapping into femininity weakens the Brooklyn concrete, softens into the clay that lets us to be the sole person with the authority to shape. But we must find a way to trust that we will survive a mistake, to know that we can walk again after a misstep, that trust we can open up to something new and still be safe. This root chakra needs opening. This yin must have its yang, fighting the defense mechanism that doesn't trust, refuses to see that love exists within. I hope you tuned in. I really do. I hope my therapist got to hear that poem. I was like, yeah, I was talking about you, sir. Whew. All right. So we're going to go into Roll 'em, which is, that's the last song, but I have two poems for that. One is a little bit longer. I wrote this, I started writing it right before COVID. I actually was blessed to have been, right before COVID, I went to an island and came back and the world was shut down. And yes, hallelujah. And while I was there, one of my friends was there and she was just kind of reflecting on her singleness. And I was like, girl, we at the beach. Who cares? Thank you. And girl, you see the sky? Like, it was bugging me out. And then I really thought about it, of what it means, and how we're pushed into these spaces of feeling like we're missing something. And so I wrote this poem called, I literally just called it Singleness. I don't know what else to call it. It literally speaks to it. And sometimes I write poems for myself, because I'm not going to act like I don't have those moments too, okay? So I'm single. but definitely realized that this was something that other people needed to hear too. So here it goes. Gosh, I love this. When the ball drops at midnight and there is no one to kiss, when there are no fireworks from someone's fingertips, when you are no closer to a diamond on that fourth finger, when it seems every singer on the radio wants to remind you that they got a boo and you just got you. When another year passes and you are still single, know that you still have value. That solitude doesn't have to be a great comforter of stones swallowing you whole. Singleness is not a badge of brokenness. You are not a broken mess. They are not cold training past you. No giant steps with you somewhere left. You are not less. There will be nothing he or she or they can say that can match you loving the echo of your own name. No need for a thing outside of your body to make you complete. Not when you are a house well stocked with consciousness and purpose and resilience. You may not have a significant other, but you are still significant. And there is no other you, silly, awkward you. Don't go missing the point of life, which is to enjoy all that you are given and simply enjoy living, realizing that your heart is one skip away from death. It takes nothing for the breath in your body to be stuck in your chest. One step from an accident, one traffic light stop, one ignorant cop, one move, wrong move, motionless. One wrong move left being motionless. And you here worrying about the person that doesn't yet exist, that you can't even be sure will be a gift, versus another headache to add to your list. Trust that the pressure of being responsible for someone else being happy has ruined many a relationship. And contrary to social media's portraits, the unions you see are far from perfect. Dysfunction is easily cropped out, and trifling people can be fixed with filters, and IG be telling stories, more like fables, more like lies. And you swear joy can only come from finding a partner, ignoring the amazing person that's been with you all this time. The Bible says, he who findeth a wife findeth a good thing, but never forget you already were the good thing long before they found you, already worth worshiping. You choose to ignore the congregation of family and friends at your altar because one person didn't put you on a pedestal. See, something magic happens when you close storybook fables and you find your happily ever after beneath your own feet. So if someone on a date asks you why you are single, tell them it's because you go on dates with stupid people that ask you stupid questions like, why are you single? Tell them you aren't basing your partner on whether they can make your toes tingle or stomach parasailing. Just because you're of a certain age doesn't mean someone can get you at a discount or on sale. That's your world is not dictated by what you have, but by enjoying its design. And if they try to put a shot clock on your uterus, let them know that games have been won in overtime. You see, if you never find your soul may discover that there was a bigger reason your soul was made. And I don't say this will always be easy. Our Creator made us to love. I know there will be nights you cannot hold back tears any more than a bedroom door can hold back a flood, but can't no one give you the joy that never was. Try your best to tell yourself, even if sometimes it feels like a lie, that someone out there wishes for your problems. Don't let your blessings pass you by. Make sure you are your own judge and jury, because being single is not a crime. Someone talk a little bit about black music. I did this for a campaign in June for Black Music Month, and it feels appropriate. Where did music come from? It began with the beat, the echo of feet, the drum infused black music is the essence of cool. Joy is our muse. Who you think carried rock and roll in their womb? Can't tell me that country didn't come from the blues. This is black music. Hip hop be the documentary of the streets. The voice to the unseen. Go-Go's Congo flooded ingenuity.